Good morning and welcome back to Sun Up on 7. In case you missed that conversation just now, it was a very necessary conversation about counseling and a free counseling at the Community Counseling Center located at the Hub on Lake Independence Boulevard. Again, for something that is much needed in Belize, that is the way to go in case you need that. But now we're switching conversations a bit, and we're here getting excited for this huge race that is coming up. And yes, it's the Ruta Maya Canoe Race. And we're joined here with Mr. Elvin Penner, who is the president of the Belize Canoe Association, talking to us about the preparations that it is taking with the upcoming race. So good morning, Mr. Penner, and welcome to our couch. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, good morning. The couch is quite comfortable, so I'm great.
A lot of people say that. So-
I'm glad it's to your liking. We truly appreciate when our guests are comfortable.
Yes, I might just drop asleep, but I'll try not to.
Oh,
Okay,
please.
all right, thank
well,
you
the
very much. We
conversation
know
is
it's early.
exciting. You know,
It
you
is.
can always start
It
row your
is.
boat if you want. Make sure you stay abreast of the conversation.
That's a song that they sing when you go to sleep. Row, row, row your
Oh,
boat.
that's true.
I should have brought a paddle. So
You,
at least
you really should have brought a
I
paddle.
should
That
have
was
brought
going
a
to
paddle.
sink the whole thing properly without
We don't want to sink it, man.
I-
But
So, Mr. Penner,
yes, good morning.
before from you enjoying the couch, we want to talk about, La Ruta Maya. It's coming up right around the lane. When
next
is
2 weeks.
It's
Next
going
week.
to start on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Friday?
The 4th of
No, the 4th
Oh,
of
next
March. Next
next
Friday.
4th of
week,
March, yeah,
I
a
was
week
like,
from
when you
now.
said Friday, I was like, wait, no man, it can't.
Always the long weekend, man. My birthday
Yes.
weekend.
Definitely,
So-
definitely coming up very quick.
Very
Yes,
quickly. And I'm
definitely.
sure a lot of people are looking forward to know exactly what's going to be happening. So, can you tell us a little bit about the preparation that has been put in place for this year? I think things have been a little bit more relaxed when you think about how COVID was last year compared to this. So, can you tell us what's going to be put into the Ruta Maya preparation and what's happening this time around this year?
Well, everything is different this time around. I was expecting the atmosphere to be a bit more relaxed. People probably forget about canoeing a little bit, but I am very pleasantly surprised that there's a lot of energy in the air right now with regards to canoeing.
Love it.
We had our annual Boom to the City race, which is considered the preliminary race for the Ruta Maya.
Right.
Teams come out to check out their equipment, check out their teammates, see how they compare with other teams in their category. And we had a little less canoes participating than we would have on an average year, or the best that we've had was, I think, 22. We had 18, but it was extremely exciting. The competition was very, very tough. Most of the categories where we had multiple teams in were kind of sprint finishes. The C2 category, the two front boats actually, I would imagine or guesstimate that they were probably 3 inches
Wow.
separate.
Wow.
It was kind of a photo finish,
I was
and
about
both
to
of
say,
them
yeah.
flipped as they've crossed the finishing line because they were paddling next to each other.
Oh my
When you're in the
goodness.
water and you're canoeing with all your might, the waves and the water just somehow draws you together. So it's not intentional. Some people think intentionally disturb the other team to get an advantage, but it's actually something that you can almost not avoid. And it was a spectacular finish.
I mean, clearly, photo finish, 3 inches isn't that big at all. But in terms of, so last year, I believe there wasn't any race.
There was no race in 2021 except we did some international events. There was the Ruta Maya was their last race in 2020, so it's been
Right. Uh-huh.
a year and change. It's almost 2 years ago since we had the last Ruta Maya.
And it's exciting being that people are still.
Definitely.
Because they've been
Thank you.
waiting, they've been ready, they've been patient.
I wonder if they've been practicing over that year and change.
Well, some have because, like I said, we did a lot of international events and our paddlers were quite active to prepare for those. Some do paddling just for the fun of it, for their health on a regular basis. So they were practicing, but the whole preparation this year is different from the past. Normally, we would consider the year's canoe season to open up at the Tacos Fest race in Orange Walk, which is normally in October or November.
Right. Uh-huh.
And that's where teams get their first tryout, basically, and they continue training from then to Ruta Maya. This year, the topic came up pretty much at the beginning of January. There was speculation, would the race happen? Would it not happen? Would it be 3 persons? Would it be 2? Would you have to have a vaccination card? A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Right. Mhm.
So teams kind of stayed home. Some did a little bit of workout, but they really started training sometimes in the first 2 weeks of January.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So we are behind 2 months in training, basically. The support has been more limited. we had our traditional support companies throughout the years. Several key players did not decide to participate this year, maybe because of the lack of preparation time. They don't want to rush anything. But even with the limited support, limited time of preparation, the paddlers are ready to go, and the race on Sunday really showed it.
You said you gave a number for the race on Sunday. How much teams were there?
We had 18 teams.
18.
And in terms of the persons or the teams that have signed up for La Ruta Maya already, could you share that number with us?
Normally, we don't get a good feel of how much teams will participate because as much as we try, well, I personally, just for the record, I'm not a part of the Ruta Maya committee.
Okay.
I'm the president of the Belize Canoe Association, where we work hand in hand, but one committee, or the Ruta Maya committee and the Belize Canoe Association, has nothing to do officially with each other.
Okay.
Ruta Maya is a privately run race. Right now, Law FM is organizing it. They're doing a great job. And we, as a canoe association, do normally from 8 to 10 races a year during the course of the year and all the international events. We are the internationally affiliated federation. Like you have FIFA, and we have our own FIFA.
So some of the
Yes.
participants of La Ruta Maya itself, they go international as well.
Yes,
Okay,
we
where
will
in-
try to encourage the Love FM and the Ruta Maya committee, including the BTB race, the kayak race, the BTB Love Sea Challenge, to at least work together and allow us to sanction the race. Then we would see a lot more international participation. International professional paddlers are a bit reluctant to paddle a race that is not sanctioned by the official canoeing body in Belize,
Which is
because if
understandable.
something were to happen, they could get sanctioned from their home federation. So, but we're trying to work with LFM and the committee as much as possible, because I really want to see racing continue. If we can work hand in hand, that's good. If we could work in the same group, would even be better. But hopefully down the road we can do that.
Is there, I know you mentioned how you guys are organizing races, and so it's a little bit slow. We had one last week, Sunday, as you mentioned. Will there be any more upcoming races besides from La Ruta Maya? But you guys aren't in direct organizing that. Is there any more races that people can look forward to?
We will definitely do other races for the rest of the year. That might not be the regular race calendar, because some of our races are tied to an event.
Okay.
For example, we normally have the Agriculture and Trade Show Canoe Race.
Okay.
From Iguana Creek Bridge to the actual behind the showgrounds on the Roaring River. If the showgrounds will happen, then that race will happen. If it doesn't, we don't have an event to tie it to. We normally have Easter Monday City River race.
Oh.
Again, if there will be no Easter Monday event in City River, we might not have a race on that event. We do a few other races. For example, in San Ignacio, pretty soon after the Ruta Maya, we do a RFNG up and down race, starting from Bullet Tree and then paddling upstream through San Ignacio, under the Hawksworth Bridge. We have a buoy turn at one point and finish it back at the
Oh, that
Wooden
must
Bridge
be
or the
exciting.
Hawksworth Bridge.
I
So
know, right?
Can you imagine paddling and then
we normally do that one C2, because the water is very shallow at the time.
Right.
So the less people have in the canoe, the less you touch the bottom. And that's another thing that this year is going to be unlike probably any other year, and probably had one year in the history of the Ruta Maya where the water level is as high as it is now. We've had a tremendous amount of rain recently, and the water will be much, much higher, which changed the entire dynamics of the race.
Right. In terms of flow, everything like that, and trying to control your
It
canoe.
is safer for the boats in terms of scratching up and breaking paddles, but there are strong currents.
Yes.
So it makes the race much more difficult. And those teams that are lacking workout, they're not very comfortable with their canoe. If they were to flip in a current and there's a stone or a stick, the canoe just wraps right around that stick or right around the bridge. Like at Iguana Creek Bridge, if somebody were to flip just upstream from the bridge,
Right.
they have limited time and probably wouldn't be able to get the canoe to the edge before they meet the bridge. So if they don't manage to keep the canoe floating down lengthway down the water and it touches one of those pillars, it will just wrap around that pillar.
Oh wow. In
Wow.
regards to like fan base, I know, right now sports isn't, but not into the point where we can have fans. How do you guys maneuver through that? Like for upcoming races, for the race that just went by as well, like how do you maneuver? And also, I believe that the races are streamed via Facebook, right? So
Yes.
it would be the Belize Canoe Association Facebook that it would be streamed on, right?
Well, our association races, we have had Rhonda Crichton from Morning Matters help us out a lot and doing some lives.
Okay.
We don't stream the entire race. We would do, for this last one, I think there were 5 lives
Okay.
during the course of the race. And of course, we do our pre-race posts, and I just did the post on the results this morning, very early this morning, probably around 3 o'clock, 3:30. So that has been my life for the past couple of weeks to get everything ready. My plate was already full. Now I have the Ruta Maya international races to deal with. So I enjoyed. But I don't remember what the question was. I was going off topic there. But
No, it was just the fan base because I know you said how you trained.
It's very interesting. Of course, due to protocols, due to regulations, we have to post the conditions to be based on the then protocols and the then regulations. So, but we don't have the manpower and the ability to actually enforce all of those regulations.
Right.
We do, anytime we have a race now, we do have to inform the police. Actually, can I get a permission from them so that they can be present? We do need to go through sports council so they can look at our posted criteria. But it has been very, very good. The fans have been really cooperating. Certain venues for the past few races that we've been finishing the race at, they did temperature checks as they walk in. We try to do as much as we can, but it's very hard to control that amount of people.
I could imagine.
They're excited.
Yeah,
they have been doing quite well, and that's one thing I would really like to plead to the public. The canoe race is very exciting. It's a lot of fun, but almost every year during the Ruta Maya, we've had some type of mishap in the traffic or something because people don't know how much time they have, so they want to see the race as many times as they can. So they would come from, let's say, they want to go from the Baking Pot Ferry to Iguana Creek Bridge. The paddlers will take probably 45 minutes to do that stretch. So why would you be rushing
Exactly.
and try to make it in 10 minutes when you have 45 minutes? It makes the race very dangerous, or the traffic during the race. So the paddlers are safe. They're in the water. The good thing about canoeing is a very safe race. It's you and the water, basically. So if you don't get sick, you should be good. But on the road, they need to be careful because take your time. If you have an accident, you will not only miss the next spot, you will miss the finishing of the race. So please take your time when you're
I love that
the race.
you have addressed that, Mr. Pena, because that is something definitely that people need to, and then they're drinking along the way.
Oh, yes.
And there will be less partying. You can see some of the videos where the canoes are flipping and stuff.
Oh, get back up, get back up.
There will be much less parties and grand finale at every day. I'm not sure what the restrictions will be like, but the first time when I spoke to the Love FM or the Ruta Maya committee, they were saying they would do no kind of special events. Like, we have people selling food, you have music, you have, of
Village
course,
Bramna,
drinking,
boom.
and it's a real wonderful
Village Bramna
event to be a
Camera.
part of. But if we need, or if the committee needs to not do those grand events to make it safer, then they will have to do that. But I'm still very happy that they decided to still do the race this year, even though there's some challenges because the fans and the paddlers and everybody was so much looking forward to the race. And this is probably the first huge event that will be happening post-COVID era.
You're right.
So it already is and will even more give people hope that we are actually probably going to see a normal day sometime soon.
Yeah.
It has been so uncertain. People have gotten very frustrated. You have protests and riots in different parts of the world. Thank God we have great people in Belize and they have been able to really cooperate and be very nice about this whole thing. A lot of people have their individual opinions, so I don't think we need to get into a COVID debate here today because then we might end up having an argument.
Yeah.
But really and truly, it is a sense of hope now that we are seeing a big event happening.
Yes.
Something that people look forward to all year. It's very funny with the canoe race. If you talk to some of the paddlers before the race, before the first day of the race, they just cannot wait for the race to start. They've been waiting all year for the race to start. Half an hour into the race, they cannot wait for the race to finish. Because it is a really tough race. The coach, we had one of the best coaches in the world for international or for Olympic style sprint, canoe, and kayak racing. She did the race with our female team, Coupe Medals female team, on Sunday. So we are definitely happy to have had her here, and she will be back. We'll probably work. He's coaching Guatemala right now.
Okay.
Their national teams. So we'll probably do some joint efforts with them to do some training for international athletes. But what I wanted to say is she is an avid paddler. I was there with her team But even this short race on Sunday, which was, I think, did it in 3 hours and 15 minutes or so, her entire hand were full of blisters. She had blisters on almost every
Oh, wow.
finger on her palm, was punishing the second day after she was still putting a lot of medicine. It burnt her.
Wow.
Couldn't sleep well.
Huh.
Imagine you do 4 days of 170 some miles where they only did like 27 miles.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
So it is difficult. I've seen persons come up with their whole nail coming off because they paddle. A next canoe comes and slams into their canoe. But they still go back every year and are so excited to start the race.
So this is all of this is trying to say you're not going to get into the canoe yourself?
I do want to. I had plans to do it in, I think it was 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had some mishaps. For all my life, I had back problems. No, finally, I've fixed it up where I'm pretty good. And then I had an accident in end of 2019, so I couldn't do it that year, or 2020. I promised the fans, I promised the paddlers. I've done everything else in canoe racing except paddling. I've done other races, but not Ruta Maya.
Okay.
So that's definitely one of the top priorities in my bucket list.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that
We're gonna
the
wait to see it.
association is waiting
And
for that too.
Yeah.
So since I am very competitive, I don't normally do things in the sporting arena for fun. I do intend to win.
No,
if I
wants to
can.
compete.
win.
That's it.
I will
What happens
compete.
to doing things for fun?
So what it's a lot of fun, but being
You want to
competitive
win.
makes it even more fun. So I was waiting till I was 40 to do it,
Okay.
so I could do the master division.
Okay.
Actually have a chance to win a category. Then things started happening. I couldn't do it. Now I will be almost half a century this year. I guess I'll do it after I'm 50.
Okay.
All right.
So we're setting
We'll
some
look forward to
feasible
seeing you.
goals. We'll look forward to seeing you. Exactly.
I do want
But
to do
again,
it.
thank you so much, Mr. Penner, for being here, to letting us know exactly what's happening when it comes to the scene. Ruta Maya is coming up very soon. Let us pay our respect. And also, we don't need for the race, guys. If it's 4 to 5 minutes they're going to take to reach the next location, why y'all reaching in at 10? Makes sense. You're reaching at 10 for what? Sit down and wait and watch water. Make it make sense here. But thank you again for being here. And with that, we go to our next commercial break. We'll be right back.